So with Module 25, the Mirage Weapons got some updates for the good and for the bad. They started out, at least on the preview server, with them doing significantly less damage than they should. A lot less damage than they were on the live server. That's all the notes we've had from the devs. However, with the following patch after that, they updated Mirage to deal a lot of damage, and really a lot of damage. Testing in the new trial, you could get, adding up those numbers, like 9.4 million damage in 7 seconds from your Mirage Weapons. That's of course during an artifact call with 10 people in a trial, so effectiveness goes to an average of like 150%. Without that effectiveness, Mirage was still dealing like 4 million damage. So it was a bit crazy when the Mirage Weapons were dealing like more damage than your daily power and your mount power just with those clones that spawn every 30 seconds. And you generally only use a daily power every minute and a mount power every minute. And the clones are when you use an encounter power, there you go, you get your clones. And they go on the wizard, use your chilling cloud. Now it differs a bit depending on what class you are, but on average they deal about the same amount of damage. They've tried to do that, the devs have, so that, yeah, the classes are balanced with regards to them using Mirage Weapons. But it's not always exact, so just take that with a grain of salt. And on a quick side note, if you're interested in what buffs the Mirage clone damage, you can see not your stats. Basically just your item level and 1 or 2 select damage buffs, and then you have your debuffs which do. However, they went and after that adjusted Mirage Weapons again, but this was a few weeks after Module 25 had actually went live, so people could use the Mirage Weapons to obtain a substantial increase in their damage. But we had a few weeks later again a patch which adjusted the Mirage Weapons again, with no word from the devs, nothing at all in the patch notes. And we can check the Mirage Weapons again, and it's current state leaves it a little underwhelming. Testing against the dummies right here, you get like 410 damage, 460, around that marker of the damage that your clones are dealing, with like 50 to 60% effectiveness depending on your rate of dodge and your rate of accuracy. So with it only dealing, let's say, maximum 500k damage, right? That's the equivalent of a hard-hitting encounter power. Sure, you might think that's good, but when you consider an artifact call and the ability to just make your bigger hits bigger, in the end you're better off just having an actual damage set, a damage bonus set. Like right now you have Stormforged. Don't recommend it too highly if you can have a party where everybody can use Masterwork for the 10% damage bonus and 10% damage reduction. But Stormforged, if you time it correctly so that you gain the damage bonuses stacking and you're in Underdark, then you can gain like a 14% damage bonus against your enemy. And thus you're increasing all your damage of your big hits by that amount, instead of just having a Mirage Weapon set which would deal damage equal to 1 extra encounter power every 30 seconds, which in its current state I do not recommend. I don't recommend going for the Mirage Weapons. The grind is horrible, and on top of that the price tag is then pretty much the equivalent of what you're going to spend anyway on getting a mastered set. I recommend getting a mastered set. You can get, yes, the newer variants with a little bit more item level, but I wouldn't worry about that as the price tag is obscenely high with the rate of the cost of those Displacer Beast whiskers. Wait until they come out with like a newer set or increase again the drop rates of Displacer Beast whiskers. But yes, the mastered weapons I still recommend very highly, especially if you're a newer player as well. You're just increasing your team's effectiveness, and thus you'll make up for a bit of the performance you'll miss by not knowing the mechanics as well, just increasing your party members who know how to play better. But yes, if you want a free weapon set, as long as you get to the item level requirement of accessing the North Dark reaches 50,000, you can do your campaign once you get to the 800 mark. If you go follow your gold quest line, you'll get your Stormforged weapons without any cost. And they're, yes, one of the best weapon sets for damage dealers, as long as you time the buffs so that they correspond with like an artifact call, so they correspond with your daily power and mount power. So the Mirage right now, I don't recommend. Yes, they were doing obscene amounts of damage in the trial prior to this fix. There was no news from the devs at all with regards to these adjustments, other than the first post saying that they were dealing significantly less damage than they should. For a time, I was running the Mirage Weapons plus then the Vistani set. You basically put debuffs on the enemy to everybody would gain 5% extra damage against the enemy, and that was great. You'd get 3 stacks from just the Mirage clones during the article, and you get a ton of effectiveness. We were ending up with like 230% effectiveness with 5 wizards all using Mirage plus Vistani, and on top of that obtaining an obscene amount of damage just through the Mirage clones. You can see a log right here, and you're getting like a maximum hit from the Chilling Cloud, that's from the clones, of 938,000. That's just pretty nuts. Like, look at the max damage hits there. We got multiple hits over 900,000, and your Outwill can no way do that yourself. You're getting like 300k maximum without the Mirage weapons on your Outwills. Like, have a look here. We got actually our biggest hit at 129,000. That's because you generally don't really use much Outwills during the article, and generally you prioritize that period where all the buffs and debuffs are active for your encounters, your daily and your mount, and just you're not really using your Outwills. But when you have your Mirage guys doing it during the article, that's like an extra damage hits that you don't have to maintain that can all get buffed up crazy high by those debuffs. But again, it's been adjusted, it's been changed to deal significantly less damage. Before it was dealing like 10 times the amount of damage that it is now. So yeah, there was no word again from the devs of them changing it. A little bit weird, but I guess they just wanted to keep it under the radar while they're fixing that, because nobody made a big deal about it. Yes, I discovered this like weeks ago, but I decided, yeah, I had better things to make videos on for then, and I also wanted to make sure that, like now, they aren't just going to go and nerf it again. So I don't recommend buying Mirage Weapons with the current state of Module 25. Just go get your free Stormforged weapons, or go and purchase your mastered weapons. You can get a Stronghold weapon set as well by doing like Dragonflight if you're in a guild with that. You'd have to be in like a guild level 20 with a max out marketplace, and you can go to this guy. I'm not sure exactly on the levels. Go to artifacts, and here you can spend your Dragonflight fangs. You need like 25 of them per weapon, along with a bunch of guild marks, 15,000 again per weapon. And this weapon set, when you use that equipped just here, will give you the exact same bonus as the mastered weapon set there, providing everybody with that 2% buff to their damage resistance, and their outgoing healing. It's really beneficial for the entire team, and this would be a cheap way you can obtain it. And yes, you can then go and upgrade it. Don't go using cold modes there. Use preservation wards over here. Actually, I don't use any preservation wards until you get to legendary, because the blue and the green enchanting stones are usually very easy to obtain. Throw some preservation wards in there. May as well here if you're low on refinement points, but to be honest, you can get refinement points very easy. And once you have it on legendary, you can go and it gives you 600 item level. Yes, a bit lower than, let's say, the mastered again, but you're not going to need the item level until you're running master content, until you're running unscaled content, which is very little content in this game right now. Yes, it's all the master trials, including Tower of the Mad Mage, and the only 2 dungeons, Vault of Stars and Master Temple of the Spider. Outside of that, everything else is scaled, so your item level is not going to matter once you get above that scaled point. So these weapons are very good, and I'd recommend them over Mirage. Don't go guiding Mirage. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your astral diamonds. It's a cool set, and yes, I guess they can make screw ups and make it so it deals a lot of damage at some point, but they don't intend for it to, and they'll always balance it down again. Massive thank you again to all of these channel members for their continued support. You can support me for as little as €1 a month by clicking the join button down below. Hopefully I presented this well. If I did, consider leaving the video a like, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing. See you guys around. Goodbye for now.